Hey there, welcome back to ITIL 4 Unplugged, where we decode the service management world without putting you to sleep. I'm Tyler.
And I'm Alex. And today, we're tackling one of those practices that quietly saves the day, but never seems to get the spotlight.
Yeah, like problem management. It's kind of like the backstage tech at a concert. If everything's working, no one notices. But if it's not, the whole show falls apart.
That's a good one. And look, problem management isn't about fixing the incident when it happens. That's incident management's gig. Problem management, it's all about preventing repeat performances.
Exactly. You know, imagine your system goes down every Monday at 9 a.m. Incident management brings it back. Problem management, it asks why Mondays are cursed and fixes that.
Yeah. And in ITIL 4, problem management's goal is super clear. Reduce the likelihood and impact of incidents by identifying causes, both known and hidden.
Right, like digital detectives, but without the trench coats. We're going to dig into what this practice is, how it works, and how it fits into real-life IT chaos.
And don't worry, we'll keep it fun, relatable, and grounded in the guide. No skipping steps, promise. So, Tyler, let's unpack the structure. The practice is made of 3 phases: problem identification, problem control, and error control.
Yeah, it's kind of like, what's going wrong? Why is it going wrong? And, okay, what are we going to do about it?
Perfect summary. Phase 1 is where we notice something's off. Repeated incidents, weird patterns, or maybe a user reports a potential risk.
Then in phase 2, we dig deeper. That's where the investigation kicks in. Logs, metrics, swarming teams, the whole digital CSI thing.
And finally, in error control, we either fix the root cause, apply a workaround, or keep it monitored if the fix isn't worth it right now.
Right. Not every problem gets a fairy tale ending. Sometimes we just have to live with it for a bit.
But smartly, with clear documentation and risk awareness.
Okay, so let's talk strategy. Problem management can either be reactive or proactive.
Yep. Reactive means an incident already happened. Now we ask, what caused it?
Proactive, that's like catching something before it bites, based on monitoring data, vendor bulletins, even user feedback, all before it becomes a crisis.
Exactly. Let's say a software vendor issues a notice. Hey, this version has a nasty memory leak. You patch it. That's proactive.
But like, even proactive stuff is still reactive to the problem, right? You're not stopping the bug from existing, just stopping it from exploding in your environment.
Well said. And ITIL makes it clear both approaches matter. Ideally, you want a balance.
Once you've spotted a problem, the first thing you do is register it. That kicks off your formal process.
And then comes categorization. You want to know, what kind of problem is this? Which team should own it?
Totally. Like, is it a network thing, a database thing, or maybe a vendor contract issue?
Yes, and categorization should reflect your team structure. If your org is product-based, your categories might follow that. If it's tech-stacked, well, same story.
Also, impact and urgency drive prioritization. If a problem affects your payment gateway during peak sales hours, that's not something you leave for next week.
But if there's already a solid workaround, it might drop in priority. Prioritization's all about business context, not just tech drama.
All right, so let's say you've registered a problem. Now what? You don't just throw it into a ticket queue and hope for the best.
Nope, that's where swarming comes in. It's one of my favorite techniques, honestly.
Same. You bring together a small cross-functional group, maybe devs, ops, product folks, and they swarm the issue until it's narrowed down.
Yeah, and it's super helpful when the problem spans multiple domains. Like, maybe it's a storage thing and a code thing, right?
Exactly. It's faster than playing email tennis, and honestly, more fun. Especially if you're the kind of team that thrives on puzzles.
The goal of swarming is clarity. Once you identify the likely root cause, you can assign ownership and move toward resolution.
Right, or toward workaround. Which brings us to our next topic.
So sometimes you can't fix a problem right away. Maybe the cost is too high or, the vendor's still investigating.
In that case, you document it as a known error, and you design a workaround. Something that keeps the service running while the deeper issue's still cooking.
Think of it like duct tape. Not ideal, but if it keeps the pipe from leaking all over your server room, you use it.
Exactly. But here's the catch. Known errors create technical debt.
Right, because every time you apply a workaround instead of a full fix, you're making a trade-off. And too many trade-offs, they add up.
And eventually, that debt slows your team down, increases risk, and makes future changes more expensive.
So, ITIL 4 recommends periodic reviews of all known errors. You reevaluate. Can we fix this now? Do we still need this workaround?
Or has the workaround become permanent by accident?
Oh, you've seen that too, huh?
Now here's something that makes problem management way more efficient. Problem models.
Yep. These are like templates or repeatable methods for known types of problems.
For example, let's say every couple months, a specific service fails because a cache doesn't clear properly. You know the steps. You fixed it 3 times.
So instead of starting from scratch every time, you build a model. It includes triggers, diagnostic steps, who to involve, and how to resolve or mitigate.
Right. It's like having a playbook. Less guesswork, less delay. And your newer team members can jump in without being overwhelmed.
Exactly. You can even include escalation paths, affected business processes, common symptoms, the works.
Honestly, this is what separates reactive teams from mature ones. Models allow you to scale expertise.
And bonus, they also make service desk life way easier. Been there.
Okay, so you've got a solid process in place, but how do you know it's working? Like, how do you measure progress?
That's where key metrics come in. ITIL 4 gives us some smart ways to track performance. And, no, it's not just how many tickets you've logged.
Thank goodness. Some key metrics ITIL recommends include the number of problems you've identified, how many incidents were resolved because of problem investigations, and how many known errors are still open. Stuff that actually shows impact.
Yeah, and one of my personal favorites, the Problem Performance Index, or PPI.
Oh, right. It's like a health score. It balances new problems, resolved ones, and closed records. Kind of gives you a snapshot of both effort and effectiveness.
Totally. And you can slice these metrics by service, platform, or product line. There's no one metric to rule them all. It depends on what your organization values.
So don't just count tickets. Measure impact. Measure business value.
Let's talk about tools and automation. Problem management can be supercharged with the right tech stack.
Right. We're talking workflow platforms, monitoring tools, knowledge bases, even some machine learning magic.
For example, monitoring tools can spot unusual patterns in CPU or memory before users feel the heat. That's proactive problem identification.
And machine learning algorithms? They can correlate incidents across time, geography, and systems to surface hidden patterns. That's huge.
Also, knowledge management tools help surface existing workarounds and known errors for new problem. Super handy for frontline support.
Just don't fall into the trap of automating chaos. Get your processes clear first, then let tools amplify the good stuff.
Preach. And don't forget to automate review cycles for known errors. If a workaround's been in place for 6 months, flag it. Time to reevaluate.
One thing we haven't hit yet, vendors, third-party suppliers. What happens when they cause the problem?
Right? You might discover an error in a component your team doesn't even manage, like a SaaS API outage or a misconfigured CDN.
So ITIL 4 says your problem models should account for third-party involvement. That means who to contact, how to escalate, how to track resolution.
And make sure your supplier contracts allow for this. If you need information from them during a crisis, your SLA better cover that.
Now let's zoom out. ITIL also defines 5 capability levels for practices like this, from initial and intuitive to continually improving.
You don't need level 5 across the board. That'd be expensive, exhausting, and unnecessary.
Instead, figure out which services matter most. Build maturity where it counts and measure not just activity, but actual results.
Okay, so before we wrap, let's share some of the really practical nuggets that the ITL guide drops at the end.
The kind of stuff you'd expect from someone who's been through the trenches. And honestly, it's gold.
First one, and it's a biggie. Just start logging problems, like now. Even if your process isn't fully baked, the sooner you start, the sooner you build insight.
Yeah, and people hesitate sometimes, right? They think, if I log this, I'll have to own it. But that's not always true. It's about visibility, not blame.
Exactly. And that leads to the second tip. Problem management isn't paperwork. It's strategic. It's about risk, value, and service quality.
Totally. Third tip, publish a list of top problems. Seriously, hang it on the wall. Put it in Slack. Make it visible.
Yeah, don't hide your problems, share them. The more people see them, the more likely you'll get someone saying, oh, hey, I know what's going on with that one.
And number 4, swarming beats silos. No more tossing hickets over the fence. Bring people together early.
And the final one, and maybe my favorite, prioritize problems based on value, not just tech stack. Just because it's a core database doesn't mean it's a core business priority.
Right. Think in business impact. Ask, what's the cost of this not being fixed in the next 30 days?
And hey, don't forget those ITIL guiding principles. Especially start where you are and keep it simple and practical.
Simple doesn't mean lazy. It means focused, strategic, not scattered.
All right, that was a journey. If you made it this far, first of all, thanks. You're awesome. And second, you've officially leveled up your ITL game.
For real. Most people treat problem management like a mystery box. You just cracked it wide open.
We covered it all: phases, swarming, models, metrics, vendors, even the emotional damage of permanent workarounds.
So whether you're an ITSM pro or you just got volunteer and told to own the problem register, we hope this gave you clarity and maybe even a little inspiration.
If you found this helpful, share it with a colleague, or your boss, or that one guy in operations who still thinks root cause analysis is just guesswork.
And don't forget to follow ITIL for Unplugged. We got more episodes coming. Deeper dives, more laughs, and zero jargon walls.
Until next time, stay curious, stay constructive.
And remember, don't just fix the symptoms, fix the actual problem.